Hey y'all, Lisa Davis here, the trusted banker, and I wanted to go over this story because I just think it's crazy how this administration keeps playing in our faces, and I really do have some theories around this, but let's just talk about this. Let's talk about it. So, we need to talk about what's going down in Washington because it looks like the White House has decided to use the word independent agencies doesn't apply to certain agencies in the government anymore, right? So let's break it down nice and easy, okay? First off, President Trump, let's say Trump, signed an order telling these independent regulators like the SEC, FTC, and the FCC, they better check with the White House before they do anything big, meaning they need to run any new regulatory ideas by the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs, or ORA for short, so the president could give them the stamp of approval. Now, these were independent regulatory agencies, right? Now, ORA usually deals with agencies under president's thumb. So sliding these independent regulatory agencies under the White House for review, this is pretty significant. It's like inviting yourself over to somebody's house, rearranging their furniture to fit your vibe, and then asking them, how do you like it, right? Did I mention that these agencies were created to avoid exactly this kind of White House meddling? Bridget Dooling, who used to work at ORA, said that it is basically a broadside attempt to redefine independence. In plain English, that means the Trump team just marched in, cleared the table, and said, we'll handle it from here. She thinks parts of this new order will end up in court because Congress set up these agencies to keep politics out of big decisions. And guess what? Politics done moved in anyways. It's almost like I keep saying we're going to be in court for the next 4 years. Unless they bust the courts up, then we're going to have a big problem, right? So musical chairs. Next, the rumor mill is going wild because Trump's plan to shuffle around folks in the banking world, apparently the Federal Deposit, the FDIC, and the CFPB might lose staff to the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. And the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency is the big dog banking regulatory agencies. So they have documents that show email lists that had already went through, right? So next, the rumor mill is going wild about Trump's plan to shuffle folks around at these regulatory agencies because apparently the FDIC and the CFPB already had emails set up for the groups to be transferred over to the OCC. As you can see, they have the FDIC transferees at occ.tres.gov and CFPB transferees at occ.tres.gov. Documents show that these email lists have been ready, and I believe Elon posted these as if to say, nah, we've already got this going. We're about to merge these. We've already got these email addresses with the whole list of the groups of people that are going to go. After they made all of these announcements about merging these organizations together, and the public can see how Trump is downsizing by hiring probationary officers that were about to get their jobs and hiring staff, and the CFPB has ordered everybody that works there not to do any work, not to do any investigations and all these things. And we're seeing the weakening of these regulatory agencies. And then to post this information makes it seem like the merger is about to happen, right? Well, the OCC had to come out and say, listen, we're not merging anything. Matter of fact, those addresses you guys found were from 11 years ago, right? Keeping it a buck, merging regulatory agencies has been a topic of discussion for a while. The OCC came out and said, it's been on the table for a long time. We made these addresses 11 years ago. We don't know what staffer found them. We don't know why they put them public today. But listen, we have no plans right now to merge the FDIC, the CFPB, the FTC, the FCC, the SEC, all up under the Treasury. These are independent regulatory agencies. That's not our plan. Meanwhile, the FDIC and CFPB are losing staff left and right. The FDIC just laid off 170 people. That's roughly 10% of its workforce. And the CFPB, of course, we know Vault, he told them to stop working, 95% of the staff. So why does this matter? Well, if these agencies are stripped down to skeleton crews, it can make it easier to mush them all together under the OCC without changing any laws. Todd Baker from Columbia University says they'll probably argue something like, we just don't have enough people to do all of our jobs, so let's just move everybody in together under one roof, right? The idea of merging regulators isn't new. Again, either way, this potential for consolidating agencies could bring more confusion to the bank regulatory process. Each agency was created by Congress with their supervisory requirements set in a statute. The FDIC has the responsibility for most community banks, the OCC for national banks, and the Fed for a smaller number of community banks and bank holding companies. They function differently. The CFPB is responsible for monitoring banks and non-banks alike for consumer compliance issues. So combining these functions without redoing federal laws, as we know Trump likes to do because he's an executive order tyrant. He want to tell people what to do, but he don't want to tell them how to do it. And so then he makes all these orders with no guidance. Nothing really gets done, especially not efficient. So combining these functions without redoing the federal law is likely to bring more uncertainty to the banking system. And we know Trump, the tyrant, loves to govern with executive orders and no guidance. And merging these organizations without any guidance or without thinking through how it's going to work will definitely destabilize banks. The FDIC uses its insurance fund to protect folks' money in case a bank fails. If that fund goes to the Treasury Department, you need a legal change to make it happen. And guess who's in charge of changing the law? Congress. And they aren't exactly known for speed or cooperation. So instead of proving the processes, you're making it much, much harder. Eliminating the agencies is also unlikely to bring cost savings to the federal government, as Elon likes to say, because none of them are funded through the congressional appropriations. Hear me when I say these are independent agencies that are not funded through congressional appropriations. So getting rid of them doesn't save any money. And that is directly contradictory of what Elon and Trump have been saying and why they're doing all the things that they're doing. So we know they're not trying to save any money by making these mergers. They're trying to deregulate all the financial industry so that they can do what? Money grab. Elon wants to get his stuff through. Trump wants to get his stuff through. Let's not even think about it, right? The FDIC is largely funded by assessments on banks. So when they go out and they assess these banks, that's how they get funded, which also pays premiums to the deposit insurance fund used to backstop all bank deposits up to $250,000. The OCC is funded largely through assessments as well, and the CFPB is funded directly through the Federal Reserve. So banking is not the place to wing it, Trump, no matter how trendy that fail fast model might sound, right? So let's be real. If you weaken this FDIC and the CFPB with workforce cuts, then claim they can't function on their own, you pretty much laid a red carpet for consolidation. But that's not what we want to see happen. We're going to keep following this. The fact that the OCC said those email addresses were created 11 years ago gives me hope. That means that they have always wanted to do something like this. And deregulation is not a bad idea, but you need to deregulate with a plan and a strategy so that you don't fail. You don't fail the public and you don't fail those systems. Maybe we need all those agencies, maybe we don't. The number one thing we need to take away from this is that's not saving the government any money by getting rid of these agencies. These agencies protect people, they protect the money, and they protect the way we do banking right now. So if you figure out that if you think there's a better way to do banking so that all those things, so that everything is protected and there's no fraud, people are not losing money, there's no scamming, there's no money laundering. There's so many things that regulations protect. So Trump, if you figure out a way to make sure you can protect all those things and keep all the money safe while you're trying to downsize, go for it, dude. Go for it. But if you can't figure it out, stop. It's just that simple. Stop. I'll be watching this. My name is Lisa Davis. I am the Trusted Banker, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.